the road again. We can't wait to get on the road again. Telling stories to our family and our friends. We can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. We can't wait to get on the road again. Telling stories to our friends. We can't wait to get on the road again.
Welcome to our monthly AAA podcast, Affinity, Allie, and Annette on the road to good storytelling with our hosts, Allie Spooner and moi. This month, we'll be talking about books featuring families, specifically families with secrets. We feel very lucky to have Jen back with us today, and she just released her brand new novel, A Wild Moon Rises. It's been nearly 2 years since her last release, Changing Times, which was a delightful book. So we are so happy to have her here with us and get that new reading from her. And let me just introduce you once again to Jen. When not writing stories, Jen spends her days reading, playing golf, shooting arrows, and enjoying quality time with her wife. Not necessarily in that order. Hope not. Your wife, does she listen to these? Affinity Rainbow Publications published her debut novel, Starting Over, in 2014. Now, with more novels and short stories to her name, there's not as much time as she thought for other activities. Running from Love was shortlisted for a 2017 Diva Literary Award in romance, and Changing Perspectives was a finalist for the 2018 Goldie Award General Fiction. Audiobooks include Changing Perspectives, Starting Over, Darcy Comes Home, and Country Living, all narrated by Nicola Victoria Vincent. For the characters in Jen's stories, life definitely begins at 40 and older as they continue to discover and enjoy their appetites for adventure and romance.
All right. So without further ado, Jen, you're on, so take it away.
Okay, well, thank you very much, both of you, for the fine introduction. Right, so I'm going to just read from the prologue, which fits your sort of 5-minute reading time. Mallory lay back on the lounger, eyes closed, with the gentle sound of waves lapping the seashore, washing through her senses. Their last day of paradise, otherwise known as Bermuda, and she didn't want to waste a minute of it indoors. With an overnight flight to London, she was soaking up as much sun as possible before they had to leave for the airport. The final 2 weeks of her self-imposed sort of sabbatical had been bliss. Her best friend, Fran, had joined her after spending the first week of her summer holiday soaking up culture in New York. Mallory thought that counted as work, since Fran taught art history at the University of Brighton. But Fran loved nothing more than trawling through galleries and museums. Not really Mel's idea of fun. She opened her eyes and sat up to accept the cocktail brought over from the beach bar. Time for one more dark and stormy, at least. The first sip was heavenly, and she sighed in contentment. The peaceful moment fled when someone plonked another lounger next to hers. Fine. She didn't mind if Fran joined her, although she'd left her up in their hotel suite, dithering over what to wear on the plane and what to pack. But it wasn't Fran. The blonde looked familiar and was smiling at her. Yeah, she'd danced with her. Was it 2 nights ago? Serena, or something like that, from Durham. Hey, Gina, I thought it was you. Mind if I sit here? The voice in her head shouted, yes, I mind. The beach is practically deserted. But the typical Brit response kicked in with a softly uttered, of course not. Mallory remembered, using her pseudonym when they met in the bar, it was always easier than explaining the origins of either her first or middle names. She wrote crime novels using her real name, M.G. Holmes, but she also had a series of children's books published as Gina Towers. Gina came out to play at times like this when she didn't want to spend her downtime answering questions about her books. The main reason for her escape from her life to spend 8 months traveling was to avoid the relentless questioning from her agent and fans. Now, after all this time away from home, she still didn't have an answer to, what are you working on now? Followed up by, Does your dry spell have anything to do with your relationship breakup with Bianca? Why did people think Bianca Boothby was her muse? Mallory sipped her drink and sighed. Once she was settled back in her cozy house on the edge of the Sussex Downs, creativity was sure to return. She looked over at the woman on the other lounger, sipping her own drink. Mal held up her glass. Last one. We're heading to the airport soon. Well, that's a shame. I was hoping for another dance. Mallory couldn't miss the double meaning. She'd felt the other woman's disappointment the other night when the dance ended, and she excused herself, claiming the need to sit down. Then she left the bar before the next song started. Later, standing on the balcony of her room, she wondered why she'd rejected the chance to accept the not too subtle invitation. Now she was going to turn the woman down again. Swallowing the last drops of her drink, she stood carefully, still steady on her feet. After 2 strong cocktails. Mal slipped the beach towel over her shoulder and picked up her bag. Enjoy the rest of your stay. She thought she heard the woman say, could have been better, as she walked away. Mallory returned the empty glass to the bar, as unfulfilled as her non-existent love life. Definitely time to return to reality and the peace of her own house, with no external distractions to impede her writing process. Maybe it was time to get a cat. Might as well live up to at least one lesbian stereotype. Mallory smiled and gave in to the cozy image of sitting by the fire in her living room, cat purring on her lap, music playing softly in the background. Her room was as she'd left it, suitcase open on the bed, clothes strewn about. She had meant to pack up earlier, but the beauty of the day had lured her down to the beach. Her phone pinged. She glanced at the screen and winced. A reminder that the taxi to the airport was due in an hour. Just time to shower and pack. With hot water cascading over her body, one of Enya's songs flowed through her mind. She hummed along, enjoying these last moments of tranquility before facing the chaos of the long journey ahead. Thank you.
Oh, that was wonderful, Jen. Thank you.